The Schemp collection is unique for two reasons. First, very few collections remain in one piece following their original owner's death. Most often, the trains are auctioned off as part of the estate and disappear into many private collections. Here, though, case after case, filled with marvelous examples of just about every kind of toy train, are still available for public viewing. Secondly, the Schemp collection contains some striking, one-of-a-kind pieces that few toy train enthusiasts have ever seen. For example, one of the collection's rarest pieces, based on the Milwaukee Road's bipolar locomotive, is the Super 381. Built by Lionel in 1927, the engine was never produced because Lionel officials thought it was too big and too heavy for a boy to put on and take off the track. Mr. Schemp considered this engine to be the crown jewel of his collection. The Super 381 is not the only bipolar in the collection. Another fine example of this locomotive can be seen in this beautifully handcrafted brass model. Above it are some of the many European trains that are on display. Hornby, the British equivalent of Lionel, is well represented here with many handsome steam locomotives and passenger cars. There's even a special LGB train on loan from former President Ronald Reagan. One of the most beautiful American flyer sets ever made is the rare chrome-plated Mayflower. Mr. Schemp's model is an absolutely flawless example of this train. There are many other American Flyer S and O-gauge trains on display, and one wall of the room features cases that are filled top to bottom with rare and unusual pieces of very early clockwork and electric trains from a wide range of American toy manufacturers. Accessories were an important part of every layout, and there are dozens of examples of pre-war and post-war Lionel trackside and operating accessories mixed in with the trains. Lionel trains make up the majority of the collection, and shelf after shelf is filled with examples of colorful freight and passenger sets. For the serious student of toy trains, the Schemp collection is a treasure trove that can only be absorbed in a lingering visit. In the late 1930s, Hornby Trains of England was making some very beautiful tin plate models of famous British trains. This striking red engine depicts the London, Midland, and Scottish Railway's 460 Royal Scot. British steam locomotives tend to be simple in style, and Hornby's model is a fairly accurate depiction of the prototype. The engine has with it a complete consist of colorful passenger cars. Although these trains are still available in the British toy train collector market, few are found in the near mint condition of this set. From Italy comes this handsome Biagi 462 locomotive. Post-war Italian O-gauge trains are quite scarce. Biagi and Elitren were two of a limited number of manufacturers who were producing high-quality trains like this one. With its red drivers, red rear truck, and tender truck side frames, this engine is a classic sample of European O-gauge at its best. All of the high-quality Italian locomotives are quite valuable and very hard to find today. In 1959, Lionel produced a special uncatalogued general set for Sears Roebuck & Company. Collectors today refer to this as the Halloween set because of the engine's orange pilot and cab, the blue passenger coach, and the yellow fences on the horse car. Only the baggage car is the same as the ones in other Lionel general sets. This rare set is seldom found today in mint condition like this example found in the Schemp collection. Even in less than perfect condition, it commands a high price and is the most highly sought-after post-war general set. It's still possible to find these first three trains that we've looked at, but now let's take a look at some of Mr. Schemp's truly unique trains. Although there's more than one set of these clear plastic F3s in existence, for all practical purposes they are so rare as to be virtually impossible to find. In 1947, Lionel made a few of these engines to introduce the F3, the first post-war diesel units to be produced by Lionel. The F3 featured all new motors and a battery-powered horn. What better way to show off these new mechanical features than by putting a clear plastic shell on the locomotives? Over the years, the plastic has yellowed somewhat and may even be a bit less transparent than it was originally. But even so, these F3A units are striking in appearance and are pieces that few Lionel collectors have ever seen. The powered unit is the most familiar of the engines. Some collectors don't even realize that there's also a dummy unit with the clear body. These engines are among the most truly unique and most desirable of post-war Lionel products. The copper-plated and gold-plated 2360 GG1s are one-of-a-kind locomotives that Mr. Schemp obtained from Lionel dealer Bill Vagel, who often visited the Lionel factory. He had them decorate the two engines for him after he had plated them. The silver GG1 is an unpainted and polished GG1 that has been factory decorated. In 1955, Lionel produced a 2028 GP7 diesel in Pennsy colors. Many collectors, though, don't realize that the 1955 Advance Catalog assigned this number to a GP7 painted in Union Pacific colors. Evidently, there were not enough orders for this locomotive received at Toy Fair that year, and so the engine was changed to the Pennsylvania color scheme. There was a prototype of the UP engine at Toy Fair, and it is now part of the Schemp collection. Even the not for sale tag that was on the engine at Toy Fair is still attached. Interestingly, it was not until 1991 that Lionel finally made a Jeep in Union Pacific colors. That engine was an uncatalogued Sears special and has already become a popular collectible in its own right. There isn't much known about the UP caboose that is displayed with the prototype Jeep. Because the caboose's paint matches that of the engine, it has always been assumed that it too was a prototype, which was dropped from possible production when the engine's road name was changed to Pennsylvania. The 2321 Lackawanna Trainmaster was introduced by Lionel in 1954. It was the last new large diesel to be produced by Lionel in the post-war period. Mr. Schemp obtained the one-of-a-kind prototype of the engine for his collection. Although the production engines were nicely done pieces, the prototype had several features that made it even more attractive. In the production engine, the circular vent on the top of the engine and the vents on the sides were molded as part of the plastic body. On the prototype, however, these vents were made from pieces of wire screen that were inserted into holes in the plastic body. This was similar to what had been done with the first issues of the F3, which also featured wire screen roof vents. The same thing was done at the other end of the engine. The prototype featured separate wire screen vents, while the production piece had these vents cast as part of the body mold. The circular FM decal on the production piece was also different in the prototype. The prototype trucks had finely crafted frames and looked quite different from those on the production engine, which also had a flangeless wheel on the third axle, so the engine could negotiate 032 curves. The prototype handrails were also lighter in appearance than the ones used on the production engines. The painted walkway also gave way to a chrome-plated one. Front rails, too, were done differently on the two engines, as was the paint job. The most important difference, though, was that the pilot on the prototype was attached to the body instead of the front truck. All of these remarkable engines and many, many others that we don't have time to study in detail can be seen at the Lycoming County Historical Museum in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.